Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I've got a double shot of the Invincible Iron Man I would like to cover. Issues 158 and 159, published in 1982 by Marvel Comics. It's my goal with this coverage of Iron Man to begin with Denny O'Neil's run in issue 158 and eventually continue all the way through the end of his run in issue 208. So that is quite a long haul, but it'll be a fun little sub-project to pursue on the show in and around some of the other things I'll be covering in the months and hopefully years to come. I started, of course, with 158 because this was Denny O'Neil's first issue on Iron Man. Now, 159 has a fill-in writer and a very special artist, which we'll get to. And 159 is going to be our reward for slogging through 158, and you're going to see what I mean in a second. So one of the reasons I want to cover Denny O'Neil's long run is because of the second Demon in a Bottle sub-story or subplot that ran through Iron Man during his run. Denny O'Neil must have had some close experience with alcoholism in his life to be able to portray Tony Stark's struggles with alcohol so incredibly during this storyline, and we'll be getting to that as we make our way through these issues. There aren't really many hints of it here in this first story, and in fact, this first story is what I would term a very offbeat story. But in the interest of being a completist, I thought it would be great to start with at the beginning with Denny O'Neil's run on Iron Man. So here we are, issue 158 with this awesome Bob Layton cover. I've nullified your armor, and at the rate the water is rising, within minutes you'll be dead. I don't suppose you'd care to discuss this. So here's some great cover repartee there from our unknown villain. And indeed, you will see that he is an unknown and rather unremarkable villain. But let's get into it. The title of this rather offbeat tale is called Moms. The writer is Denny O'Neil. The penciler is Carmine Infantino. Dan Green and Al Milgrom on the inks doing some heavy lifting. Joe Rosen, letterer. Bob Sharon, colorist. Jim Salicrup, editor. And Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. So we start our story with Iron Man having some technical difficulties. His armor suddenly malfunctions in mid-flight, and he's barely able to save himself here as he gets back to his lab and workshop at Stark International Headquarters. We see that he's going to try and run through some tests to try and figure out what's going on. And he thinks, I won't rest easy until I find out what's wrong. First order of business is to check every circuit, every diode, every transistor, and anything else I can think of to check. And he meets with failure there. So he's going to go out for the night. And we meet our antagonists of the issue, this interesting pair who are in a cabin not far from where Iron Man had his mishap at the beginning of the issue. At that moment, in the mountains, Iron Man visited earlier. I fixed your favorite meal, Sonny. Scrambled eggs and milk. Thank you, Moms. So these two have an incredibly abusive relationship. They also both appear to be mutants, with this character who will become known as Sonny as the story goes along, and Moms, his actual mom, she appears to be a powerful psionicist as well. And we'll get back to them later. But we have some nice storytelling here from Carmine Infantino, letting us in on the troubled lives of these two characters. Meanwhile, at an exclusive South Shore country club. Champagne, Mr. Stark? It's on the house. No thanks, Brewster. You can bring me a Perrier with a twist, of course. So here we have a little hint of sort of what might be to come as Tony Stark, having survived the original Demon in a Bottle storyline, is on the wagon, so to speak, here. He's playing some high-stakes backgammon with this fellow. He needs double sixes to win 32 grand, and what do you know? He rolls boxcars. Meanwhile, this attractive lady comes up and says to him, Tony, my precious, did you hear about my terrible accident? I was flying in my darling private jet over Cougar Mountain. My pilot said electrical failure was the cause. So this woman almost perished in a plane crash near where Tony Stark had the same issue in his Iron Man armor. So that, of course, is going to pique his interest. He takes this unrecognizable looking sports car to near the area, and he makes the change from Tony Stark into Iron Man. In any case, it won't do any harm to investigate as Iron Man. Meanwhile, Sonny and Moms go to this secret lab. It's never made clear how it's built or how it was financed, but that's often the case in the Marvel Universe. But he appears to be torturing her. It's a pretty disturbing story here of this dysfunctional relationship between mother and son, and he's forcing her to use her psionic powers in these weird experiments. And of course, Iron Man is going to fly right into it. Some sort of light on that mountaintop. I'll need a closer look, but I'd better not get too close until I figure out if there is any danger. So we get to see his armor in action, and here too we can see the excellent ink work of Al Milgrom and Dan Green in action. At this point, Carmine Infantino's pencils are not, shall we say, what they were, but he is getting a lot of work at Marvel here and there. He had an intermittent but long run on Spider-Woman, and here he's getting a spot work on this issue of Iron Man. And the end result is not terribly displeasing. It's just not generally my cup of tea at this point. Carmine was not really my cup of tea as an artist, but getting the job done here, telling the story. Iron Man uses his chest laser to blast this bit of debris that was flying at him. But again, through the psionic manipulation of this character, Moms, his armor suddenly goes into shutdown mode. Sonny actually leaves to get candy, leaving Stark having fallen somewhere near, with a miraculous coincidence, near the cave. Great job here, I will say, by Carmine, Dan Green, and Al Milgrom on showing the rain. It really, these panels just feel sodden. They feel really wet, which is, the job of a good artist to do, and they communicate it very well. So, without his armor's special sensors active, having the helmet on kind of blocks his perception. So Tony faithfully removes his helmet, and he goes into the lab and finds the comatose Moms. She seems to be in some sort of trance. I better not try to wake her. No telling what her problem is. But I will examine the rest of this cave. An opening in the floor probably leads to an underground stream. And a load of electronic gear, I don't recognize any of it. But I'd bet next year's stock dividers that it's responsible for my armor's malfunctions. So Stark, a trained adventuring professional, is taken by surprise by this rotund individual who we've never seen before, Sonny. He knocks him out, and he is going to throw him into the aforementioned stream. Love this Dave Cockrum subscription ad here. He had taken over X-Men by that time in 1982 and was having his second run on the title after Byrne left. Somewhat mixed run. Back to our story. A sudden slap of icy water and, "Good evening, sir. I don't believe we've been introduced. Maybe you're Iron Man, and who I am isn't important. Call me Sonny. I seem to have gotten myself in a ridiculous situation. Perhaps you'd be so kind as to help me out of here?" No. I'm going to let you drown. May I ask why? Because I have to protect my secrets, mine and Mom's, until I'm ready to demand everything I want. So, very sinister and strange character, this Sonny. And so he's going to leave Tony Stark to drown in his Iron Man armor. And without the power that the armor provides, it's kind of a dead weight to Tony. And he's desperately trying to devise a way out here. And briefly thinks about succumbing to drowning, but of course the hero in him won't let that happen. Yeah, the water's pouring in, and that means there must be a hole of some kind. If I fill my lungs, I might be able to find it. Current's coming from this direction, a gap. I knew it had to exist, but it's too narrow. I can't squeeze through. I love the coloring and the art on these panels on this page. Really, again, depicting the watery situation very convincingly. Nice work here. A lot of artists I've heard on videos and read in interviews, water is not an easy thing to draw. So it's really a testament to Carmine and the inkers' professionalism that they do such a nice job on it here. And this next page here, probably my favorite in the whole book. This panel especially is just incredible. Iron Man can't get through, but maybe plain old Tony Stark can. So Stark strips himself of the armor, and he escapes his watery doom, coming up out of the water, exultant. Air! Meanwhile, Sonny's back at the cave, continuing his experiment. Mom's power shuts off, so Stark's armor is active again, although now he's not in it. And it's plain old Tony Stark who confronts Sonny back at the cave. And, oh, I love these D&D ads. I got to talk about them every time. Love this Bill Willingham artwork on there. It'd be nice to have them in a collection for sure. And, oh, great. In the bullpen bulletins, this is a really nice Dazzler artwork here. Very cool. And we have a brief scuffle, and in a physical confrontation, straight up, Sonny is no match for the well-conditioned Anthony Stark, so he knocks him out. And he learns a valuable lesson. You taught me that I'm more than a tin suit. Thank you, Sonny. Mister, will you do me a favor, please? Hit him again. So, a strange ending to a strange comic. We have our printed circuits letter column, and I was going to say no notable entries, but we have the inimitable T.M. Maple, perhaps the greatest letter hack in the history of comics, writing in to complement issue 154. So that is notable. And that was 158. Again, Denny O'Neil's first issue, an inauspicious beginning perhaps, but it would be setting him up for great things to come. Let's move on to our reward, and if you've stayed with me this long, your reward is going to be Iron Man 159, and our creative team is Roger McKenzie, who is the guest writer, and Paul Smith is the guest penciler here. Incredible Paul Smith art. Diverse hands are the inkers, so D hands. So there were a number of inkers involved in this issue, and that was the shorthand they used. So very cool. When strikes Diablo. Thunder rumbles ominously, drowning the muffled roar of solar-powered boot jets as the invincible Iron Man streaks from the storm-filled skies above Manhattan. Inside the gleaming micro-mesh armor, Tony Stark prays there is still time to prevent certain disaster. Great splash page. Just wow. I mean, this Paul Smith is such a great artist. Love his depiction of Iron Man here. And we have the classic cable car in distress. The cable snaps, and Stark is able to catch them just in time. That was close. No serious injuries, Avenger, thanks to you. Just some bumps and bruises. We do have a problem, though. It'll take hours to clear this cable, weeks to get replacement parts. So, of course, Iron Man solving real-world problems, expedites their repairs. Flying away from the scene in triumph, he almost runs headlong into a jet coming in from LaGuardia, and adroitly avoids disaster there, heading back. And I love the little depiction of technology here. So I'll just compute an alternate flight plan with a touch of a button. So there's always tech involved in any Iron Man comic, of course, because that's Tony Stark's stock and trade. Meanwhile, we have this mysterious character who's going to become important later. He's a janitor at Stark International for the time being. And a little bit of foreshadowing here. Stark's security chief is warning him about said janitor, how he sort of just showed up on the scene unknowingly. And so they're going to look into it. Meanwhile, this janitor seemingly solves a chemistry problem that a couple of Stark's researchers have been having for quite some time. Hold my broom, will you, huh? So, you're going about this all wrong. A simple process, actually. Easy as transmuting lead into gold. And of course, we know from our cover who this guy is, but I've been head of chemical research for 18 years, but I've never seen anything like this. The man's a wizard. Impressive, Mr. Beto. Mind telling me how you did that? I wish I could. Somehow, I just knew. So again, some nice foreshadowing as the two beakers are cracking. So Stark has this guy visit with, I guess he has a psychologist or psychiatrist on staff at Stark International. And so this guy is trying to figure out what's going on. And of course, we begin to realize he is Diablo. This is a great recreation of the first Diablo appearance in Fantastic Four 232. Here they're crediting FF 236, but I think this is a misprint. I'm pretty sure it's 232. I think 236 was a double-sized anniversary issue. But again, this was a Byrne cover, and Paul Smith does a really nice job representing it here. So apparently, Doctor Strange had helped the FF with their Diablo problem, and kind of took matters into his own hand as the FF was taking Diablo away. Strange decided he was too dangerous and transformed him against his will into this janitor, which is really some ethical concerns are raised by that, but oh well, I guess that's what happened. Who's the new guy? Don't know, but he gives me the creeps. Strange sought to submerge my true psyche beneath a thin veil of respectability. Due to your efforts, Doctor, he failed. So the Doctor's got his back turned, doesn't realize that this guy's actually Diablo, and he gets knocked out by Diablo's powerful potions. And he can seemingly change shape at will using those self-same potions, and he takes advantage of that, giving everyone the day off so he can go to town in the chemical lab at Stark International. Several hours later, in a top-secret workshop. Now what? I'd hoped to finish modifications on that prototype armor tonight. Guess it'll have to wait. Stark here. What? The chemical research lab? You sure about that, Vic? Believe me, boss, I know trouble when I see it. So Vic, the security chief, is letting Stark know. And here we have the awesome transformation, this time courtesy of the inimitable Paul Smith. The attaché case is a designer original. So is the armor inside. From the form-fitting chest plate to the magnetically sealing arm and leg housings, and the distinctive glittering helmet. So in less time than it takes to tell industrialist playboy Anthony Stark becomes a solar-driven dreadnought, known the world over as the invincible Iron Man. That unearthly glow surrounding the research lab. Vic wasn't exaggerating. Something is definitely wrong. What's the situation, Vic? Won't know until we get inside, if we get inside. Lab sealed tight as a drum. Correction, it was. Now let's see what. Great panel, great storytelling here. And we're rewarded with this incredible splash page of one of Diablo's creations gone amok as it smashes through the doorway at Iron Man. What in heaven's name? Mister, haven't had nothing to do with that. Keep firing. It's no use, we can't stop it. Gotta pull myself together. Lure that thing away from the others before... the flames are real. If not for my armor's refractive coating, I'd be so much slag. But now I'm in a position to do this repulsor scream to electronic life with devastating results. Foomph. Great depiction of the action here from Paul Smith, who really has the animator's touch when it comes to his storytelling and figure work. Just brilliant. Clear the area, Martinelli, now. I'm going in, alone. So he runs afoul of Diablo, who they have battled before in Iron Man's storied career. At this time, he's probably battled almost every major villain in the Marvel Universe. Can't move. Frozen solid, but who? Diablo. Now that I have defeated you, the Fantastic Four are next. Keep gloating, mister. With my thermal units are operating at peak efficiency, this icy prison won't hold me for long. Diablo, if that's the best you can do. I underestimated you once, but never again. My dust devil should take care of you. So awesome. He creates an elemental hurricane, almost a living elemental creature. It's like kind of like something you would see in D&D or whatever. And Iron Man is sucked out of the room, out of the building itself. But if I can work my way to the eye of the storm, I'm home free, or am I? Diablo hurled some sort of elemental fire clinging to my armor. Can't douse it, but I won't have to. Not if I can manage to turn Diablo's traps against one another. It's working. The whirlwinds are snuffing the flames, and my repulsors will do the rest. Now for Diablo. Where is he? Below me, reaching for another potion. Again, that X-Men ad. Oh, this is so great. I love this golem he creates. I don't believe it. Diablo brought that sidewalk to life. Going too fast. Can't stop in time. Destroy him, my pet. Destroy him. Schlang. Crush. That rocked me, even though through my armor. Got to clear my head before. Crunch. Oh, great panel here. It might be my favorite of the book. Just totally great. But Iron Man goes with it. His armor's proof against it. And he drags the golem down with him here. Incredible. What's that? I found some sort of workshop beyond my wildest dreams. Perfect. Iron Man's repulsors smash his stony adversary into so much scattered debris. Boot jets do the rest. Your playmate just went up in smoke. It's over, Diablo. Is it, Avenger? Look around you. What's he talking about now? Behold the power of Diablo. So in a great sequence, Diablo has animated 5 of Iron Man's past armors, which is really cool. I love seeing all the classic armor arrayed against him. Just really nice. I love the shine, the gleam that the art team puts on Iron Man's armor too. It's just really cool. And we have a wordless sequence here that's just tremendous. As he battles his own armor, disembodied, of course. And here they're overwhelming him in this great sequence of panels. Really brilliant storytelling from Paul Smith. We don't really get anything in the way of backgrounds on these pages, nor is it needed, because the figure work is just so flawless. And whoever inked these pages really did a nice job. And, of course, Iron Man prevails over his old armor. Diablo, I hope your insurance is paid up. What a brilliant bit of cartooning here. You don't often get expression on Iron Man's face because you really can't see his face, but here, through just a subtle manipulation of the faceplate, Paul Smith and the inking team deliver some really great cartooning, showing us just how upset Tony Stark is underneath that armor. No, stay back. Keep away from me, fool. You owe me, mister. A debt I intend to collect. Then consider this payment in full. What? The very air solidifying around me like a straitjacket. Never felt so helpless. Wait, what's this Diablo's doing now? He's moving closer. It is over, you fool. Except for one small matter. The question of your carefully guarded identity. And now, even that is within my grasp. But in this amazing moment in the story, yarg, zap. Iron Man charges his armor and knocks Diablo out. Epilogue. And we get to see a Paul Smith Fantastic Four sequence, which is awesome. And we'll see one of these later on in X-Men when Lilandra threatens Reed Richards over reviving Galactus. But here it's nice we get to see him in costume. It was a simple matter then, Reed, to recircuit my reserve electrical power through my armor when Diablo touched it. I get the picture, Iron Man. And don't worry, we'll keep a tight rein on Diablo this time. A flaming rein, you mean? I always knew you was good for something, Matchstick. Say, Ben, I wonder where Tony Stark is. Oh, them Playboy types are all the same, Susie. Not a care in the world, right, Iron Pants? Ben, you don't know the half of it. So a great end to an awesome fill-in story. Oftentimes fill-in issues are kind of lame, weak, but this one really delivered. And Bullpen Bulletins, we get the Fantastic Four issue I mentioned, where I believe it's the issue after this one, 244, where Reed Richards saves Galactus' life. Contest of Champions, that's a new thing Marvel's pushing. And we're going to see a full-page in-house ad for that, really great. Just imagine every single superhero on Earth in one unforgettable 3-part epic. The very first Mighty Marvel miniseries, produced by Bill Mantlo, John Romita Jr., and Pablo Marcos, on sale now. So pretty cool. Letters page of printed circuits. No notable letter writers in this one. And that's it. That's our 2 issues of Iron Man. To start off my long-term project of covering the whole Denny O'Neil run on Iron Man. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. And I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.